General weather outlook over the next couple of weeks. We're focusing on northern plains, southern Canada, upper Midwest, Corn Belt regions, and Great Plains. And a lot of this region, especially the north central part of the United States, has had a pretty tough go of it the last few weeks. And that cold weather is going to linger. Now, the next 2 weeks will take us through the month of February and into the first 5 days of March, essentially, and I really don't see any sign of the cold weather letting up. There'll be some moderation from time to time. There is one change. There'll be a chance of snow, and by this I mean more than just the dustings. We may actually get a measurable snow system, probably not a phenomenal snow, but one that will get people out shoveling, and it will add a little bit of moisture perhaps to the soil, or at least to the snowpack above the soil. And the other thing that's kind of interesting setting up this week is we're looking at the first sign of spring thunderstorms in the southeastern part of the country. So here's the weather pattern. Jet stream ridging in the west. It has temporarily this weekend gone into a southwest to northeast flow, albeit temporarily. For so much of the winter, the flow has been coming out of the northwest. But for the time being, we have this more typical southwest to northeast flow. This is a pattern that will bring stormy weather in this region, where the warm air gets pulled north, cold air gets pulled south. A circulation will likely form, and there will probably be some storms down in this region. This pattern is also going to pull back near zero or sub-zero air to the Dakotas and back into Montana as well. It won't be all week this cold, but it'll be very cold throughout the week. Pretty warm weather, getting into some 70s and 80s down here in the southeastern states. And for this week, a lot of the Rocky Mountains will stay below freezing, and all except the way out along the west coast, it's going to be fairly cold across the Pacific Northwest. Now, note this ridging beginning to push into western North America toward the end of the week. That's a sign of things beginning to change again. And as we go into the last few days of February and the first part of March, we're getting back into that more familiar northwest flow pattern. There'll be this little bulb of low pressure that has to work its way through, and then we're looking at that same northwest flow pattern, which basically keeps the northern plains very cold, but it also puts cold weather back into the southeast after that brief warm-up and brief stormy weather period. So there's a pretty good bet we'll see some snow this week coming out of the Rockies, spreading across the northern plains and the Great Lakes. Heavier in the Rockies, maybe heavier downstream of the Great Lakes, in between more of a light to moderate snow, and it remains to be seen where the heaviest of the snow will be. Some stormy weather in the southeast and pretty dry in the southwest. The second week looks a little quieter, with the snow dropping a little further south, raining weather in the southeast, and if there's any precipitation in the northern plains that first week of March, it's looking like it will likely be just on the light side, but very likely snow.